coming down on the roof above us, although we are in the dry, so I shouldn't really be complaining about it, should I? But Alan, Michael Schumacher, he had just as many problems as any other driver out on track today, didn't he? Just take us through exactly where it went wrong for him, because he came off not once, not twice, but a few times.
Yeah, he did, and Michael used to be the rain master. He was the guy that would always pull the extra performance out of these very difficult conditions. But first thing, look how wet it actually is at the moment. But he gets on the curb there. Instantly, the rear end goes, and he's just sliding and praying at this point. This is in Beckett's, and that is the luckiest thing, because immediately he stops just before the gravel trap itself.
Talk to me about aquaplaning in a car. How difficult is the situation that Michael found himself in here? Exactly what is aquaplaning, and how do you get the car under any sort of control?
Well, that's the thing is, before we go into aquaplaning, we talk about this.
Okay.
Michael already had the presence of mind. He was in 6th gear when he went off, and he's changing down, going 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st, neutral. And then he can go into reverse, as you can see it there, and he plugs reverse to drive away. And that's the thing about the driver, is even though it's difficult conditions, he's made a mistake, the adrenaline's going, already he's thinking about the next step.
Okay, talk me through aquaplaning, as we just alluded to it then. Tell us all about it and how you do manage to get a car under control when you're in these conditions.
Well, aquaplaning, it's a difficult thing. Basically, as Christian Horner was saying a little bit earlier on, there's a difference in diameter between the dry, the intermediate and the wet tire, 10 millimetres. But if you think the puddles out there are probably 20 millimetres deep, and so what happens is the car goes onto that big puddle and it just lifts up. There's got no contact at all with the ground, and it floats. So it's like basically being on a surfboard. You sit on the surfboard and you're taken by wherever the wave happens to be. And the second problem, George, is when then you go off that puddle, the front goes off before the rear, or the right goes off before the left, and then the car can just kick, and to be honest, you're in the lap of the gods at that particular point.
So you just become a passenger at that point?
You become a complete passenger. You just hope. The clever thing is how you get out of them. So therefore, you do it exactly like...
Is there a rule? Is there a way?
There's a feel.
Yeah.
Don't panic. Just release the wheel. And this is what you do in a road car as well. You don't just tense onto the wheel. You release the wheel. You do everything gently, because you've got to bring that beast. And it is a beast. It's 750 horsepower. It's got a lot of grip, but not at that moment.
But Michael Schumacher is a man with
control.
immense experience, and he's still struggling.
Well, exactly that, because if we look at this, he comes into the braking area and he just locks up the rear. And this is another factor, though. Just look how little he can see. That's effectively the vision for the driver.
How difficult is that? I mean, we talk about, aquaplaning, we talk about the tyres not being able to clear the water quickly enough, but what about the visibility? How difficult is it just to see in those conditions?
Well, if we go back to the beginning of this clip, and I play it again, there, that is what the driver can see. So, Georgie, I'm sure when you drive home tomorrow night,
that's hideous,
drive down the motorway, switch off your wipers, sit behind another car at 70 miles per hour, and you'll not see a thing. Think about doubling it to 140 miles per hour, and you'll see absolutely zero, as Michael did. You can't see the puddles. You don't see where the aquaplane is going to come up. You're just living on your wits and looking through the sides. You look through your peripheral vision, not necessarily what's directly ahead of you.
At what point do you call it as a driver? We heard Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton say that it is just too dangerous to drive.
When it's like this, exactly when it's like this, when you hear the sounds like that, and when you see what's outside.
And that is exactly what's outside. It's pretty nasty, isn't it, Crofty?